What's up, peeps? It's CameraKid92 here. So today I thought I'd do a little review on a movie I saw yesterday. It's called The Grey, and it stars Liam Neeson, and it's about this group of guys who get stranded in the Alaskan wilderness, and they have to pit themselves against this group of wild, crazy, bloodthirsty, murderous wolves. Sounds pretty good, right? You might be mistaken. When I first saw the trailer for The Grey a few months ago, I thought it looked pretty promising. It sort of reminded me of Taken, but in the wilderness this time. Because, Liam Neeson kicked butt in Taken, so Liam Neeson kicking a whole bunch of rabid wolves' butt sounds pretty good to me. The trailer looked exciting, it looked intense, it looked hardcore. But after I left the movie, I was mistaken. It was nothing like the trailer that I saw. In its place, it was dull, it was depressing. It was kind of slow at parts, and it was just grim. They should have called this movie The Grim instead of The Grey. It starts out pretty strong, you get introduced to the characters, you get introduced to Liam Neeson and what he's going through. He lost his wife to an illness, and he's trying to cope with that, and then, just as luck, he happens to go on a plane. They're heading home from Alaska. They work at an oil company, and their plane crashes, and only a few of them survive. It's pretty a rude awakening. I thought the whole plane crash scene was done well, and the whole, waking up from the plane crash, that was pretty intense as well. My favorite scene from the movie is where the first night, after they're all trying to stick together at this plane crash, they start a fire, and then they see the wolves, you just see their eyes in the darkness. I thought that was a really good touch. But after that, the movie kind of goes downhill, for me anyways. I'm not sure about all you guys, but I'll explain. There are wolf attacks here and there, they just kind of jump out of nowhere. But in between these wolf attacks, it's just them walking through the wilderness, and I felt like they really dragged some of that stuff on. I felt like they could cut back on the length of the movie by just cutting some of these scenes, because sometimes I just felt bored and my butt was getting numb in the movie theater. I'm like constantly shifting. I'm like, eh. I thought the acting and the effects were well done. The cinematography was good. I thought the scenery was beautiful. It was just amazingly eerie and mysterious, but it was also, it was mystical, I guess you could say. It looked really cool. That's probably why they called it The Grey, because everything looked gray. All the actors, they did a great job. I could really feel their fear and stress. I would hate to be in a situation like that. I'd probably be the first to die, knowing my luck. I wouldn't know what to do in there. If any of you are squeamish, to blood or guts and stuff, I don't recommend seeing this movie because, the wolf scenes are intense, and they do tear the people apart, and you do kind of see, guts and blood all over the place, and with the white snow and the red blood, it's like a big contrast, you really notice everything. So I recommend, if you don't like that type of stuff, don't see this movie. One thing I also didn't get is why they had to put the F word in like every single sentence in this movie. I can understand if you're stressed and stuff, like you're gonna curse, but I don't see why every single sentence has to have one F word. It's like, do you really need to talk like that? And yes, I know this movie was rated R, and I've seen plenty of R-rated movies, but I just think it's kind of silly when you're just trying to overuse the F word. It was just way too much. It's like, it was a lot. It was a lot of F words. I don't even know how many were in there. Probably like a couple hundred. Like, it was in like every sentence, especially after the plane crash. Maybe that's why the wolves killed them. Maybe the wolves don't like crude language. Alright, everybody. So, if you don't like spoilers, I recommend not watching the video from this point, because I'm going to talk about my biggest problem with the movie, the ending. I personally thought the ending sucked, and here's why. Alright, I have to admit, I was kind of hoping for a Liam Neeson and alpha male wolf, big battle. I was looking for Liam Neeson to kick the wolves' butt, because, that's what they really promoted in the trailer. Him taping the bottles to his hands and breaking them so he has these sharp glass shards on his hands. And I was expecting a big, climactic, epic battle at the end. But instead, as soon as he's getting ready to beat the wolf's butt, boom, black screen, and then the credits start to roll. Everybody in my movie theater was like, ugh. Like, you could hear everybody sigh and just be like, other people were like, that can't be it, that can't be it. And then the credits start to roll. I'm like, did I really just sit 2 hours in a movie theater, watching you guys walk through the wilderness, and you can't even give me a good Liam Neeson kicking a butt wolf scene? I know there's a scene after the credits. I personally didn't see it because I was just so pissed off that I just kind of left, after the credits. I'm like, oh, forget this movie. I had to go watch something happy after that. But I heard there's an end scene where you see Liam Neeson resting his head against the wolf. So I guess he does kill the wolf, but it still leaves it ambiguous. You don't know what's going to happen next. I personally have a great idea for the ending. I'll let you guys hear it. Instead of having it cut off like that, you can have him battle the wolf, kill the wolf, but him himself, he could be fatally wounded after the battle. And as he's dying, he could see his wife again, and she could be saying, "Don't be afraid," and then he could smile, and then, you could have the screen go white, and then have the credits roll then. I thought that would be a more closing scene than just, "Get ready to battle the wolf," and then directed by. I'm like, so overall, besides the lame ending, I thought the movie was okay. I usually like depressing, grim movies. I'm one of the few people who like Alien 3, but the ending was more conclusive in Alien 3. Even though it wasn't happy, it was conclusive. You felt like it resolved everything. It didn't leave it with a big cliffhanger. And I really hate that because I feel like nowadays they use so many cliffhangers in movies. Sometimes I just want to go see a movie, see a guy kick a wolf's butt, and have that conclusion. I don't want to be thinking about the movie days after. But other than that, I thought the effects were great. The acting was fine. I had no problems. The scenery and the cinematography was beautiful. The music was okay. They did a good job. There wasn't too much of it. Just slight. You don't really need an epic Lord of the Rings score for a movie like this, but it was good. The only problems I had was the ending, and sometimes the movie seemed to lag a bit. And overall, I give this movie about a 5 out of 10. That's equivalent to 2 out of 4 stars. Just to be fair, it was an okay movie. I personally think that if I knew how it would have ended, I would have waited till it came out on demand or on DVD. I would have rented it instead of paying $12 to go see it. So that's just my thought. Dislike, comment below. Let me know what you thought of The Grey. I want to see what everybody else has to say about this movie. So I will talk to y'all later, alright? Peace out, people.